Instead, they opt for the Xayah. So there is all the physical damage on the side of them. They have the Aatrox, they have the Jace, they have the Xayah. They have massive amounts of late-game scaling on their team composition. But SKT's team comp isn't no slouch either. The Camille, the Aurelia, and the Varus are all equally scary, and the Lux is so powerful against the Karthus. And so they have multiple ways of actually in scrims, although obviously the tendency is to go unhit. Enormous amounts of CC, tons of late game scaling, 1-3-1 availability inside of this team composition, and Lux and Karthus. On the flip side, though, for GRIFFIN, Jace, Karthus, Aatrox, Xayah, and Tom, this team is all about accelerating early at 1, 2, and 3 items, but still having the power and push to go beyond that, and just ensuring that there should be no realistic answer around the 30-minute mark.
We'll have to wait and see who's going to come out ahead in this hype series of SKT versus GRIFFIN. Well, the fans are coming out in full force tonight, not holding back at all. As we've got SKT on our side. We heard them loud and clear with the fans right behind us. But yeah, Coma coming out and he's saying, "Okay, guys, I'm here for the draft now. We're gonna try to make this. We're gonna try to flip this ship upside down and try to get it going." But we'll see. I mean, I feel like the draft is good overall. How do you feel about SKT's draft in this game compared to their past drafts, Ellis?
I think this is one of their better drafts that they've had, not only of this split, but also of spring, if we're entertaining a lot of, or a large sample size. Interestingly enough, it will be the attack speed Varus. We're not going to be seeing the lethality approach, and so there's definitely going to be a little bit more down and dirty type gameplay that's going to come out from both of these teams. And it's really important to know that if either one of these teams ends up getting a lead, it becomes really difficult for the opposing team to stabilize and come back, but it's a little bit easier for GRIFFIN because of the nature of Karthus. So Tarzan kiting the blue really, really, really well.
Yeah.
You only have to get hit by a blue buff once as Karthus if you're doing everything correctly.
Yeah, I remember the last time you were going off a little bit about how the kiting was not up to standard, not up to par.
And so if you're Karthus right now, you recognize, hey, I can't actually gank any of the lanes. Let me just do an around-the-world route as he goes for a full clear, and then he can transition into potentially left-hand side Scuttle Crab, depending on what the lane state ends up looking like. Mid, he trades this off for bottom Scuttle Crab, and then everything there is pretty standard and generic. It should be realistically pretty hard for Sejuani to gank bottom, given that Sir Thomas has Cleanse and Flash available. I don't like what Haru's doing by starting the red buff immediately. It seems really needless. He's going to waste a lot of the duration on it. Should have probably just started the Wraith Camp first because he knows, hey, I'm not actually ganking any of the lanes. Sometimes we see this in pro play, and it's really sad to see.
I mean, if he wanted to access one of the lanes immediately, maybe it could have worked out. But for now, it's all about just delaying as big trade up in the top side. Looks like it goes slightly in favor of Sword, but he also does have that corrupting pot. And yeah, Sejuani just going for the full clear. Khan gonna pull that one a little bit short and take a ton of damage on the backside.
He's definitely messing this up. And interestingly enough, Sword is electing to shove the wave, and this could be deceptive because Sword had a wave coming into him that he could have utilized to freeze. And so if Khan is thinking, well, why is he actually trying to shove in the wave and takes a trade recklessly on him, then Tarzan can actually just cast Wall of Pain. It's a pretty easy kill onto Khan. Sword, I don't know if that was an intentional Shock Blast miss. That would be pretty 5-head.
That would be taking it to the next level. But look at all the pings that are going down. They're saying, hey, he's either in the top side bush or this bush where Tarzan actually is. Those are blue pings. Yeah, so they know.
Definitely think that they're reading it correctly, and a little bit surprising to see that Tarzan doesn't even bother to take a Scuttle Crab. And I mean, Haru is also not doing anyone any favors. He didn't take the one on the right-hand side either, even though his bottom lane was going to have priority, and it seemed like everything was going well for Faker in mid. So I really don't know where is going on here, but now all the rubber band camps are going to come up for both of the junglers. Karthus is going to have first access to them at all. And now Mata's going to come down, and everyone knows where he is. Perfect timing by Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan's going to sweep that one out. We got the Infernal starting first. We have both sides of the Rift. Would really love to pick that one up. So we'll see if any focus does come on there as another jungler, Haru, making his way up to the top side.
So right now, Khan has a freeze. The wave is coming into him, and his jungler is on the left-hand side of the map. He managed to cancel recall from Sword, and so everything is just fantastic for him right now. And so I would hope that he doesn't unlock the freeze as he tries to maybe cancel it one more time. Not going to, though.
Yeah. Just a cheeky stare, saying, hey, I might attack you. But he didn't in the end. Another lockdown here onto Thomas, but just a bit of trading down here. There hasn't been too much action in the bottom lane. Was curious to see with the push if Haru would consider returning to the top lane, but Sword just went back on a buy, and it looks like Khan is going to go for his own right now.
And now with Karthus pathing up to top lane, we'll see if Sword actually wants to get a crash onto the wave. It looks like he does, and Camille's going to be forced to let him. And so this does mean that Karthus can wrap left-centric and cover him for any sort of aggression that he wants to get. This might end up enabling Sword to convert into a turret play, depending on the size of the minion wave remaining that we can't currently see. Karthus is now level 6. He should be recalling.
He's got to read his book real quick and then just go for recall. He's like, oh yeah, this is the way the script's going. I go back, get my items, and I begin to take over the Rift.
Not quite able to get the plate there. Just off by about 2 auto attacks.
Okay, here we go. First action in the mid lane. Haru is going to join up. Not quite level 6 here, but they want to get that flash away and the teleport from Lehend, who does have Unsealed Spellbook in the bottom lane. So Faker just using his ult to get 2 summoners out of the Griffin team.
Yeah, that's a really big victory right now for SKT as well. And you look at the current lane state, yes, Chovy has teleport on the Aatrox, but everything does feel quite bad. Now, Mata comes in here, checks on the status of the Infernal Grave.
Oh boy, and now
Haru
we're returning.
He doesn't have 6 though.
Looking for that stun, it's not gonna matter. First blood, and now Tarzan in an awkward spot has to flash away. Faker getting a little bit excited on the backside of that one at his double kill, but a nice little play with that Aurelia and Sejuani to make that stun come through and pick up first blood.
So that's really, really bad right now for Griffin, because this Aurelia can just turn the game on its head. She's the one that can accelerate almost the fastest for SKT and leave very little wiggle room for the solo laners of Griffin. And so already the Tiamat completed. Aatrox comes back into the lane, but you can see that he's level 6 to Faker's level 7. And then look at Khan up in top lane, managing to freeze. And this is making it really difficult for Griffin right now, who are going to find themselves in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, really not the best spot here, as Sword is going to show himself, and Haru with that level 6. They want to set it up here. The flash comes in, but now they're going to go for the slow. Don't even have to use that Sejuani ultimate until right now. They're still going, but okay. The turnaround comes in as the communication not really there to pick up the kill.
Yeah, I think what happened right there is that Camille's not glacial, so they didn't have the stun that they were able to get sooner. So
yeah,
a little bit unfortunate there. They probably Jace isn't in the game yet.
Synergy, you know, it's not quite there. They're gonna have to play some more teamfight tactics to figure that out.
Yeah, that's what just ended up happening. They weren't quite sure if she was gonna be able to proc it on her own. So that's what just happened. All right, but realistically, that was very bizarre to see happen. So Griffin catch themselves a little bit of a break.
It kind of looks like Haru was just a little bit greedy with that one. I think you have to go for it early before the knockback comes down. Keep him stunned so the Camille can stay in range and do the damage. It kind of felt like he wanted to hold off on it because they had him in such a great spot for the gang, but he just thought they'd have more damage where they certainly did not.
And so right now the gold lead is not super big, but it is all tied up inside of that Aurelia right now. So it's important to pay attention to what Faker can end up doing with it. As we look at the items across the board, the very close to being able to get a turret plate here. Should be able to get it right now.
Khan taking a bad trade there. Just running straight in sword. Thought it would work out. Has to miss 3 or 4 minions as well.
And the really sad thing is that Khan is doing such a great job with his lane manipulation this game. He finds himself with a 17 CS advantage. They should have just had the kill onto sword. This lane state would look entirely different right now, and Haru would have had the ability to just eat the Gromp and then get the Snuttlecraft, but because he's behind on tempo and pressure due to the top lane state, he has to forego the Gromp because he has to be elsewhere on the map sooner, which is a little bit unfortunate. And now this is a very interesting timing here where Sword is going to have teleport up sooner than Khan. And due to all of the lane states right now, Infernal is actually a pretty real threat, and it's not something that either team wants to let go for free.
It's control ward in the middle of the lane. Just some free gold there for Faker. Not sure why that was placed a little bit earlier on. As it was a good job clearing out a bunch of the vision around the Infernal Drake, but there was a control ward placed in there that now Tarzan thought he was going to clear that one out, but not quite going for it yet.
Looks like Haru wants to set up a gank down here in bottom. It's really hard against the Tom.
I mean, it's basically impossible, right? The Tom has cleanse flash, so even if you hit the Tom, he's just going to get away. If you hit Viper, you're probably not even going to hit him because he's Xayah, and he'll just hop up in a Featherstorm and laugh at you.
Because that was Ida.
Yeah, she's laughing. I mean, that looks pretty fun, right?
Okay. All right, I don't mind that.
Well,
well, this is scary.
Haru's still around.
If they would get hit by a binding, then they could potentially chain everything correctly in order to set it up. And so far, though, in this game, at 11 and a half minutes, this is one of those Karthus syndrome type things that I was talking about, where teams will not set up for him, or just the lanes end up going quite horribly and he feels pretty bad despite his ultimate.
It denied the gold there. Placed another ward and actually took away the vision of the one that was nearby. As now that Sword has some items, Khan has to be a lot more careful about how he's farming. You can see that he's basically only farming under turret. So, taking away from a little bit of his lane manipulation as Tarzan on vision, by the way, pulls this out. He's going to have that leased away as Haru will not let him just get it for free.
Well, it really looks like he is extremely intent on trying to get this Infernal Dragon. And he already has the Runic Echo. He's going to be able to pick up the blue buff, and that should allow him to basically solo it by himself. But instead, Chovy going to come over and aggro it. They're going to take advantage of the tempo reset across the board. They're going to use Viper's teleport here to help confirm it, and that's an Infernal Dragon with another one coming up. So, that's the best possible rolls for Griffin's team composition.
Yeah, getting pretty lucky with that one, but very interesting timing out of SKT for all 4 members of the bottom side to go back. And not sure if any of them were on vision, but Griffin read it pretty well to just go for it at that timing. SKT do want to respond by taking Shelly here, but it's already 13 minutes and 15 seconds, so they'll have to use it right away if they want to get any plates.
Well, I would imagine that Rift Herald's at about 5,000.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Trying to turn this around. The Wall of Pain not quite in range. Tarzan waiting on that one.
Faker's there too, so if Griffin actually tries to check this, it could end up being really bad, but they get the Rift Herald. And I think they have to cast it right away, but there's no minion wave, so there's no way.
I mean, they... are they not going to try here?
Oh, they're going to try.
They're going to try. Yeah, okay.
Oh.
This is going to be a close one. 3, 4, 5. They're trying to push the minions ahead.
It's like a time bomb.
Oh, it's charging, but it's late, is it? Oh, no!
That's like when you're a kid and you try to go to... Do you remember going to pick up video games?
Yeah.
And the store's closed?
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
That's tragic.
Or you get there and they just sold out.
Or that's like trying to get into PBEQ.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh,
no.
You get there, and it says one player
Were
left.
you 10 seconds too late? See you in 10 hours.
Yeah. You get there, it's like, oh, there's only one person left.
Oh,
and it's just
man.
loading forever. You're like, oh.
Oh, man. Shelly didn't know what she did wrong to deserve this.
Is it just her account is bugged, or what does she got to do?
She doesn't have whitelist priority, that's for sure. We just saw that.
Yeah, it feels bad, man.
Oh, man. Well, now coming back into the jungle, Haru actually going to take away the blue buff here. And I do have to say that Chovy's done a really good job at recovering, all things considered, so far inside of this game. SK Telecom, they find themselves with a 500 gold lead. And for the first time, I actually am a little bit perplexed on how to deduce who might be ahead of the current state of the game. But
oh, nice read on the stun there. They're going to do a ton of damage here to Sword, but the knockback and the flash from Haru is not enough damage. And look at Sword just hanging around. You can see Khan is not really helping him as Tarzan's going to pick up the kill. The chilling smite comes in. TP is here from Faker trying to save the team, but Toby just walks in. Faker will pick up the kill with the Requiem, and this could be 3 here as OK Faker getting into the back line, but that is going to be his eventual death. The 2 for 3 in favor of GRIFFIN.
And the other thing about the Karthus Requiem that often goes unspoken about is it influences other lane states. And we just saw how far back Teddy and Mata were as the Requiem came down. And so right there, that's a huge victory for GRIFFIN as Chovy, he's going to be able to get the first blood turret up there in top lane. There's no way that Khan is going to be able to spawn and do anything about that. And so right now, that's a massive swing going over to GRIFFIN. And the really good thing about this is that Karth is able to go around the world one more time and path towards bottom, which is where the Infernal Dragon is going to be spawning. We take a look at this, and they try to get Sword, but again, a little bit of hesitation, and Haru is trying to do his best dance moves that he can to dodge this. Sword comes back in one last time, and Tarzan was just doing a phenomenal job with the lay wastes, ends up hitting Faker as well with 2 of them to boot, goes into his passive. Faker trying to dodge as much as he can, ends up using his ultimate, reaches Sword, gets the double kill, but ends up inevitably being shut down by Chovy.
That's what I was doing when I was watching.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was clapping and
Yeah, no big deal.
play-by-playing at the same time. I just couldn't contain myself. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It was weird to see Khan also, like, he had already given up on the fight, and Haru's, like, kind of dying 1v2.
Yeah.
It was just kind of another broken fight, and I kind of feel like you can read into it and say, hey, SKT don't look that comfortable, and Haru not really playing to the highest potential that we've seen him play before.
And this is a really, really important Infernal Dragon that's coming up in 10 seconds. And if it ends up coming down to a smite fight, Tarzan does have the level. So Haru, as you were just mentioning, not playing up to the level before, he is having a little bit of an off game here when it comes to certain things. So SK Telecom, they're going to have to really try to do this correctly. Sword has his teleport available, and if you just look at the items across the board, this isn't a fight SKT realistically wants to take right now. Requiem's up for Karthus. That's a lot of damage.
Oh, boy. The Arctic Assault out of the pit here means that GRIFFIN pick up a second Infernal, and the Requiem just coming in as Tarzan saying, go for it, team. Go for the fight. And now Faker's going 1v5. Not sure about that one. He didn't have his flash, so he said, I can't get away. I have to go in. And that means it's just the decision-making to stick around that gives away the Infernal and the extra kill.
And I really like the synergy with the Atrox and the Karthus. You don't get to see this super often utilized in such a way, but you cast the Requiem early, you don't end up utilizing the maximum potency of it with all the Dark Harvests and whatnot, but you give Atrox the very much needed threshold to guarantee his reset for his World Ender and then keep going on inside of the fights. So it was really great to see GRIFFIN end up utilizing it there. And now everything is just falling around the map. And I talked about how if GRIFFIN were the team composition to fall behind, then there would still be tools necessary to come back, mostly inside of the Requiem and the potential resets. But for SKT, those tools just aren't there. take another look at the team fight. Infernal Drake goes over their way. The slow from Sir Thomas ended up landing on Faker. Faker knew at this point that he was dead. A little bit surprising to not see other members of SK Telecom try to invest resources into maybe saving him sooner, such as Haru's ultimate. But nonetheless, after the dust settles, it's going to be a 3,000 gold lead with 2 Infernal Dragons currently for GRIFFIN. But SK Telecom, they get themselves a little bit of a breather. An Open Dragon will be coming up next.
Nice. That's not as pressing as the Infernals, especially from behind. They're not going to have to try to force a play on top of the Infernal. Really like the way that GRIFFIN handled it, too. Came in at the exact right time and said, you guys just can't fight us. You know that, right? And SKT said, yes, sir. And so that gives over the Infernal and the extra kill. So we'll have to wait and see what SKT can do as Haru's still hanging around here. Looking for a play. The ultimate is going to come down. Teleport invested, but Chovy might be going down here. They will have the damage, but the Requiem and Viper in range here. But now we got Lehens all by himself, has the stopwatch. Faker trying to go 1v2 on the backside as Lehens is kind of in no man's land here, teleporting in all by himself. That's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of SKT.
It ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of SK Telecom, but Jason's getting solo XP and solo gold down in bottom.
Khan wants to take the driver's seat here. He wants to lead this on the victory as Tarzan is going to have to flash away from that one. Nearly able to pick up that extra kill.
So it looks really, really good on the screen what just happened for SK Telecom, but the reality is that GRIFFIN end up profiting way more. Sword gets so much solo XP and minion gold down in bottom. Just look at the minion wave for Sword while all of this chaos is happening on the side of the screen. He's going to get 2 of these waves and all the turret damage, so yes, they end up getting the kill right there. Now, Lehens' ultimate was pretty no man's land, as you put it. Dark Harvest stack given over to Tarzan, as well as the kill for Viper. They end up bringing down Lehens, but it does come at an expense that is made up for in terms of the value that Jace ends up getting down in bottom lane. And that's a little bit of a desperation play out of SKT, because that was also a bit of a heavy commitment at this stage of the game that would suggest to me that they're a bit panicked.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same thing about the desperation. This is what happens with teams that get behind and they have compositions that have a lot of pick. They try to go all in on one guy who's all alone on a side lane. We've seen this before. Hava Life has done it before. Other teams in the LCK as well. And it can work if the enemy team overreacts and tries to get to a play that they're going to get there too late to. But instead, Sword is keeping his cool. Didn't have his TP anyway, as Mata is going to lose that or miss that binding, but cannot clear out the control ward.
Well, right now, Karthus, he has the near true damage on some of the targets currently on SKT. Lux, however, being a little bit of a cheater there with the Chalice. 64 magic resist on her side, so probably have to have a word with her.
Definitely not fair.
And I really like that Jace is itemizing for lethality. He knows that the Atrox will bring the Black Cleaver for all the other physical damage users, and so that way he can try to maximize his damage output, provided that Chovy is able to get into the fights, get those stacks on all of the members of SKT. And as we are continuing to transition, a lot of this is now realistically going to come down to Teddy trying to be a hero inside of the team fight, but it's just going to be so difficult. Rellenomicon picked up here by Tarzan.
As GRIFFIN don't even want to let them get the Ocean Drake. They're saying, if you're going to group
They
up
just wanna
and go
fight,
for a
yeah.
5v5, we'll take it. As GRIFFIN are thinking about it, but a little bit late to the party as a 5, so not quite going to commit to that one. No harm, no foul. It is just the Ocean Drake.
But SK Telecom committed all 5 members into the river, and so now GRIFFIN have the high ground. So things are definitely going to be a bit awkward right now. Teddy gets caught, forced to flash.
Oh, trying to turn it around here, though. The Devour is there as Lehens gets in range, but Chovy still no kill here. As once he comes out of that, no, they can't get him, but they do get the biting onto Lehens. But no follow-up flash as the damage was there on the Khan. He didn't want to dive on in himself. And so nobody actually will go down in the skirmish.
And right there, they want to be really careful. They're respecting Tarzan in the back line, because once one kill comes in, once the HP bars start getting low, that's when everything starts getting really scary. And so it looks like they are content to just wait for a little bit, get more items, and then try to take a more calculated team fight, as Khan wants to go in on Viper. That was insane stopwatch timing.
Yeah. As we're continuing to go on, but they have the Tom Kench too, as Faker's there all alone. There's more Griffin players in range to help out with that fight, so another broken fight will go the way of Griffin.
And if they had one Mountain Dragon right now, one thing that Tarzan could do is actually cast the Requiem to prevent the recalls, and then they could have cheesed Baron, but without that Mountain Dragon, currently it would be a little bit too early, given SK Telecom's HP thresholds as well. And so it looks like everyone's going to be content to go back to their corner. Everyone's going to farm up their side of the jungle, and things are just continuously getting more dangerous as the match draws on, especially when more and more summoners end up being expended.
Yeah, I mean, they're going in for that one. You get the stopwatch, but with Tom Kench right in your face and nobody really backing up Faker, that was never really going to work for the team who's down 5,000 gold here. Griffin once again moving as a unit over to the side of the Baron, wants to clear out all the vision and threaten this Baron objective.
And so right now, Griffin, they are willing to fight. There's no reason for them not to want to fight right now. And interestingly, Chovy, it looks like he actually wants to go Guardian Angel relatively soon. Sword getting quite a bit of chunk damage. Khan having to use the shot over the wall. Lahen's going in, though.
They look caught here as Khan, trying to disengage with his ultimate, is going to hookshot away. The Requiem comes in, and what? He almost killed Khan on the back. Now we know that guy doesn't have any magic resist.
And one of the other really scary things right now for Griffin is their level advantages across the board. The Baron's going to be started. Now, interestingly, not enough damage was done to the other members, and Khan has TP, so Griffin might be biting off a little bit more than they can chew right now. Karzan, like
yeah.
Khan and Tarzan on the same team, so.
Yeah. As not sure about this one for Khan, trying to fight for this, but Haru has to flash away, as Khan will be able to hook shot to safety. Just trying to save his life that time. Maybe what we were hoping for the last time around with Faker.
Level discrepancy is going to definitely be one of the hurdles for them to overcome. And remember, Tarzan completed the Morellonomicon a very long time ago. So he's sitting on so much gold currently. And with all the HP stack on the side of SKT, I would be surprised to not just see him go for Leandri Rylai's.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he does pick up, as they were able to pick up the Featherstorm, at least, out of Viper. He had his flash. We had Tom Kench following up. He was right next to the turret, so he was going to be just fine.
33 seconds until the Mountain Drake, which should mean that it should go over to Griffin, given that they're going to be the ones with priority at every step. Needlessly large rod coming out for Tarzan, so it looks like he wants to just maximize his one-shot damage with the death cap rather than providing the sustained utility off the Rylai Leandris. And so he will be electing into the glass cannon type of Karthus rather than a team fighting type.
Yeah, and honestly, you do have at least 3
you do have 2
squishies.
Infernal Drakes as well. So
you're doing
the
insane
amplification
damage.
is going to be quite insane.
Yeah. I don't mind it. There's a lot of squishies on the side of SKT. Notice, though, the 4 stopwatches that SKT do have. They're not messing around. Stopwatch, a very nice item to use against the Karthus if you are in a dire situation. So, and they're also a great item to use for kind of that one-use team fight that you have to win.
And that's the next team fight, is the one that SK Telecom need to actually win. So, provided they can do it, they can convert into Baron, and Griffin are actually really, really bad at resisting Baron. Not the team, but the team comp.
Yeah.
Just for clarity.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah, we're just trying to clear out all the vision once again. The little dance that we always do get around this Baron. They have some really nice wave clear with Xayah, Jace, Karthus, and even Aatrox if they are around. So they can just immediately push, threaten to push on the mid lane, and then rotate up towards the Baron with no vision in there. They have the high damage from their composition now with the double Infernal and the Mountain, so they can easily threaten this objective.
Shot going down there, ended up whipping. And a little bit more poke coming out. And the real key thing to watch here when trying to see if GRIFFIN can get any kills is actually going to be the Lux barriers. They're the greatest hope that SKT actually has right now against Karthus. Wow, it's okay.
Just passing through.
A little bit of a Baron posture thing going on right here.
Yeah.
Ghost is cast, and
Look at this guy. He's healing his way into the fight now. With the right to glory as well.
Oh,
he doesn't want to let him go
missed.
down. You mean the binding?
no, he missed the eat.
Oh, yeah. Well, everything kind of going wide on that one.
Close call. SK Telecom managed to stay alive for the time being, because if Khan went down right there, that surely would have been the Baron
Yeah.
going over to GRIFFIN
What do you-
99 out of 100
yeah.
times.
What do you think about this new age Thomas builds where you go for the right to glory after your original support item? We've been seeing it a lot here in the LCK recently.
And any support item on Sir Thomas where he gets to build a little bit more beef to his meat,
Yeah.
that's one that I can get behind.
All right. Okay. He becomes a really fast and limber boy.
Yeah,
which,
well, I mean,
which
he
I do
had-
like.
How else are you going to get on his boat,
That's true.
you know?
It's all about timing. You know,
Right.
Tom is all about the perfect time to get on the boat, and do his thing.
I've heard that he owns a super yacht.
I mean, it's Thomas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nowhere he can't go.
Have you seen his skins? It's
They are quite impressive.
yeah.
They are
He
quite
knows
impressive.
what's up.
Yeah.
He's got the fashion going.
Yeah, he does.
SKT moving in, trying to reclaim some of that territory. I feel like if it were a slightly more risk-taking team, like one of the teams we saw yesterday, like a Sandbox or an Afrika, with
Baron would probably already be gone.
with double Infernal and a Mountain when you're this far ahead and SKT has no vision, instead of trying to bait it and go for the safe play that we see teams like GRIFFIN and SKT do, they probably would have just done the Baron and turned if SKT came. But
Yeah.
GRIFFIN not wanting to take any risks here.
And interestingly, this is actually making it a lot easier for SKT to potentially have a chance. They're getting more core item completions. Guardian Angel already there on the Aurelia. And Varus is opting into AP now, so a little bit of hybrid damage coming out for him. And the longer that SK Telecom wait, or the longer that GRIFFIN ends up waiting, the more stunted, potentially, one of their team fights could end up being. And with Open Dragon coming up in 50 seconds, not the best one, or necessarily the highest priority, but you know what this is building up to, Valdez, is we're going to have one very chaotic fight. Game's going to end. You excited?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
That's the new age.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
Okay. Trying to get on in here. Jovi not really able to do that as the binding once again is going to go wide and seem to land those ones, but the turret somehow in the background goes down, blown over by a gust of wind from the fight. GRIFFIN, though, not really able to find that engage they were looking for. They don't have much hard CC, so basically all they can do is just run at SKT with Aatrox and hope that something lands.
Well, I do believe that you'd probably have a better time of getting into the PvE via the queue right now
Yeah.
before this Baron's going to end up being taken. So,
As is the way. And now SKT, I mean, you might say that the GRIFFIN way is safer, but because of their lack of engage, of hard CC, of fight doesn't really go their way, and SKT is just able to walk on into what should be Griffin territory, put down a bunch of wards, even one at the Raptors that could be a really nice teleport ward, or just a bunch of vision around the Baron. And SKT not looking in too bad of a situation right now.
They're going to capture themselves the Ocean Dragon. This will cause an Elder to spawn next, and if Griffin would elect to get that, it would be a 4-stack Elemental Elder Dragon. And that's going to be coming up now in 5 minutes, and so there's going to be potentially 2 neuter major objectives for them to try to pinch SKT with. Camille's a little bit angry. I like how we got to hear that.
That's the inside voice of Khan right now in this game. I feel like his laning state was pretty good for what he was given.
Everyone's just continuing to scale. Are you excited?
Yeah, just, can you take a look at a script for us and see when this next team fight's going to happen? Because I'm getting just a little bit impatient at
Hold on. Let me turn the page here. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'm 37.
Oh wow, okay.
56.
That's not that bad.
That's not that.
Should be coming up soon.
Yeah, put your clock on.
So the players know, what's going on with the script, and
Yeah.
Faker, he's like, hey guys, we got to fight soon, so we're just gonna hit the Baron, and that's the signal.
Do you get it? It's
Yeah,
fake because it's Faker.
Oh.
You get it?
I really love that Pepe laugh face.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
That's like my new favorite Twitch emote.
Pepe.
Oh boy.
All right, we're almost there.
He's level 16. Thank you, Observer. That does a lot of damage.
Do you think when Karthus is 16, he has a birthday party? Do you remember those? Watching on MTV or something, Sweet 16 or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
I never really watched that show myself.
Okay. In a minute and 20 seconds, you'll get the answer. So you hang on tight.
You see that Dark Harvest was up at 5:25. For the side of Tarzan, he's waiting for that one big moment where he's going to show everybody who's boss.
He has a death cap.
He finally made it there.
All right. Well.
And as predicted, really not that much MR on the side of SKT. So he just goes for the Merlinomicon and says, that's enough. Penetration, of course, has the boots as well.
Ooh, here it comes. 45 seconds.
Yeah, we're nearly there. As long as we go according to script here, should be going on the fight in just about 30 seconds, guys. Stay tuned.
All right. It's coming. Any day now. Any day. Here we go.
Yeah, come on. We still got like 20 seconds. Got to be patient with it. As maybe this is where it happens. SKT skip a little bit impatient and start the Baron. No? Okay.
Oh, they're brewing for it right now. What you don't know is that this is the dance commencing.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
It's a very complicated dance that the pro gamers have to do.
Now it's commenced.
You can't just simply fight,
Right, you can't do that.
Yeah, no. Well, I feel like Griffin have also kind of given up on trying to deny all vision in Beta Baron. It's like they're not even grouping up as 5 and trying to clear all the wards and stuff, because the amount of times that SKT has been able to just push in and go for that, I feel like maybe it's because of the 1-3-1 that SKT is trying to pull off that Griffin is trying to respond to.
Please forgive me here. I'm blind in my right eye. It was 38-50.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There you go.
I couldn't quite see it, yes.
Finally, Griffin decide we're going to take the Baron. I feel like they definitely could have done that a while ago. We're trying to burst down the Karthus here, but it is going to work, but he is going to be dead here. Bunch of damage coming out here. Let's see the stopwatches, boys. There you go. You got a couple down. Faker dying in the background as Toby is going to go down to his GA, but Faker's dead here. Can Griffin turn it around, looking for the Devour over the wall. He will get it, but down will go Tom as SKT looking to turn this one around.
Viper.
It's all going to be up to Viper, but he's all alone. He's just going to have to run away as the Baron goes Griffin's way, but SKT takes a big lead with the fight.
And yeah, SK Telecom, they're going to be able to convert this into an Elder Dragon. And you can see that one of the main problems for Griffin inside of this fight, and it's what I was alluding to earlier with as the time keeps drawing on, it gets a little bit better. The Guardian Angels were so problematic for the Aatrox and the Karthus inside of this team fight. Now, if Griffin take another one, these items, actives obviously won't be up and ready, but just watch it how obnoxious these items are. Now, Tarzan gets locked up immediately, loses basically all of his HP. No Wall of Pain ends up coming out right away. Requiem even passed really early on into his Death-Defied passive. And then the Guardian Angels are just making everything so problematic. Aatrox doesn't get a World Ender reset. Elder now for SKT.
Yeah, that was just a really great engage as well from the side of SKT. It was the hook shot plus the ult flash from Faker, plus the ult from the Sejuani. I mean, they were throwing everything at the Karthus, and they said, if we can just burst him down before the fight really gets going, we're going to be able to kite it out and win. We have the Guardian Angels you mentioned, the stopwatches, now some Zonias coming in for the Varus. And they were able to do exactly that. As you were mentioning the AP, he's got the Zonias and the Death Cap.
It's quite a strong item right now, as the Zonias is going to let him also be obnoxious. And the interesting thing, and what I was alluding to about the lethality virus earlier on, is against the Karthus, you can actually go Edge of Night. But obviously with this AP hybrid type virus, you have the option to go Zonias, and it essentially does the same exact thing. And so now the Elder Dragon, it will dissipate in about a minute, so perhaps SK Telecom can get themselves one more turret, but the real issue is that they will not have the Guardian Angel on Faker for the next team fight. And what I really like, though, is that Haru is itemizing, it looks like, Locket of the Iron Solari next. And that's not a combo that we get to see all that often anymore with the Gargoyle Stone Plate. That used to be one of the mandatory type itemization combos that used to exist on junglers, but it definitely does Shrek Karthus team compositions.
That it does, and it wouldn't have been very effective with the health of the Lux in the bottom side, so just going for that one on the jungler like that, just getting overall Karthus coverage. And you know, when the game goes on long enough, it doesn't really matter who had a lead at 20 minutes or 15 minutes. If you know, Griffin, they waited so long to take the Baron. Take a look at the gold now. It's basically the same, just a difference of about 400, and really anybody can win from here. Do you have a preference for either of these comps in the extreme late game that we're kind of going towards?
Well, if all of the Guardian Angels are up on the side of SK Telecom, despite the 2 Infernal Drakes, most fights should go their way unless Griffin gets Dream positioning. And this is just one of the small problems of this type of a team composition. And now also, I should note that because Tarzan elected for the Rabadon's Death Cap, because he went for a glass cannon build, and the game has reached this tipping point, he'll now actually be less valuable than a Leandri Rylai Karthus that would just be able to give his teammates more utility and value over an extended team fight, and have value even inside of his lay wastes and Defile.
Yeah, I mean, if he just goes straight AP and SKT can get enough items to negate that damage, then the extra damage from that kind of item, then you're feeling pretty good if you're on the side of SKT. We do have about a minute until the Baron spawns, and, well, based on the last 20 or so minutes from these two teams, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't fight here for just another while.
Any day now. Someone needs to whitelist this match. That would be a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets straight into the server.
Yeah. Whoa.
Okay, Chain of Corruption is going to be denied there by Viper. Nice little dodge as, okay, we're going for the ARAM now, just looking for it. Devour is going to be off. Maybe SKT can get one of these kills. Bit of damage coming on in as Khan is jumping in too. Sword taking a bunch of damage. They're not able to get his GA though. Take a look at Toby that nearly lost his as well. But although nobody dies, SKT going to win that fight.
Yeah, and even though Viper is really, really scary now, there is teleport available on Sword and Chovy, so in theory they are here for the Baron. Also, Thomas Kench ultimate available as well. But you can see how difficult it is for GRIFFIN to actually win these team fights unless they have some sort of game positioning. Now, Mata is going to be really obnoxious here. Premature Requiem.
Yeah, it's going to do a nice chunk, but everybody was shielded by the Lux. So a lot of that negated.
They want to go for the 50-50, which is so bizarre.
Yeah, Chovy's just hitting the Baron. Take a look at the damage. Now Khan wants to punish him, but did he go too far?
Faker.
He's all alone over the wall. And I'm not sure that anybody can save him. He's going to get burst down, and that's going to be the mistake there from Khan, going all by himself, getting a little bit too excited. Probably a KT fan, but either way, it's not going to be able to get on in there and help his team. Now it's 5v4 in favor of GRIFFIN, and they're still not ready. They want to wait for the Jace to teleport over to this Baron.
They have to wait for the time being, and with only 40 seconds, they're going to have to do this quick. But if they get this Baron, it also converts into the Elder. So this is definitely a very scary situation right now. They're just making sure that there's no steal potential now. They're going to beeline barrel straight down to the Elder Dragon, and they're going to have about 11 seconds plus the teleport channel time in order to burst it down before Camille could be present. If they get the Elder, I think it's going to be near impossible for them to lose a team fight.
I mean, we're 46 minutes into the game, right? This was the combination that you want to have, right? The after 40, Elder and Baron. It's not going to be the second Elder, though. SKT got the first one.
Oh, it reset.
Oh, boy. That's a big deal. We got
that's a really big deal.
GRIFFIN. Oh, they might be stuck between a rock and a hard place. Faker could get an epic ultimate. Here we go. Going in all by himself. Can he burst down Viper here? No, Viper's going to stay alive with the Featherstorm, and the Feathers pulled back. And
and he's healed all the way back up.
Look at all that lifesteal. That's insane. But SKT, they pushed them away, and it resets again. It resets again. Can they get it, though? They will. The smite comes in, as now Toby's in the front line alone. Lahen's trying to take it up.
needs one assist.
Oh, boy. Not quite able to do the damage, though. Here goes Khan again, and they're going to be able to take out the top.
Requiem's activated.
And Requiem comes in, and two of them are going to be burst down, and now it's only Mata left over with the Elder buff.
They gave him the Presence of Mind rune in order to reduce the cooldown on Karthus' ultimate.
Oh, no.
I wasn't quite... I couldn't quite see if maybe there was like a hair left or if the ultimate was about to come up in itself, but why that wasn't on their mind is beyond me. They're going to lose the game for it.
This is going to be the end of the game, guys. The Elder goes SKT's way, but they just go a little bit too far after the fight. And GRIFFIN coming out a little bit more solid and on top in this game. The deserved victors this time around.
You know, and interestingly enough, this was a battle of mental fortitude. The game was extremely stale and stagnant. SK Telecom actually brought it back to a
race, and they were able to, keep that team fight prowess up to a high level and win that fight at the end when it really mattered. So props to them for picking up the win. Definitely a team effort this time around, as nobody was really popping off individually. But this is important. Let's take another look at this team fight.
So right here, Faker actually has a pretty dream engaged setup, but you can see that the rest of SKT, they're not on the same page. They were autoing the dragon, then they follow up. If everyone was on the same page, there's a real chance that Viper couldn't have been able to actually recover and